How we doing, team? And welcome back to a brand new episode of the Simply Podcast. Simply Sport Pod, to be more precise. It's been a while since our last one, but this one in particular should be a good one. There's so much to talk about, so we'll definitely be diving straight into these topics. But yeah, if you are new around here, please do consider following the podcast on whatever you're listening to it. Whether that's Spotify, Apple Music, whatever Amazon one is, I don't even know, to be honest. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you do press subscribe. And as always, we do record these live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Simply Spud. So make sure you go come over and check us out there and drop a follow, because you know it is free as well. And you can get involved. We usually record these on a Monday night around about 8 o'clock, so make sure you're there. And you can get involved in chat as well, because I do read the chat during the podcast, get input from people in there, ask questions and whatnot, and you know, I get maybe a better opinion overall, because listen, just my opinion doesn't always count for something. It's good if we get multiple people agreeing on the same thing at least. So yes, without further ado, we've got loads of topics to talk about, but the first one I want to talk about is the title races. We've got a few on the go at the moment, and one of the things that was kind of going around on my feed, particularly today, I noticed, which I thought was a bit of an odd one, was Liverpool winning the quadruple, which I honestly cannot see happening. FA Cup, I feel like they could win. I feel like Chelsea at the moment are a bit of a broken kind of they're a bit disorganised. They're not quite the same Chelsea that they were before. I don't know. Is it? In fairness, I really don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea in general, to be honest, with these sanctions and all sorts of the moment. Obviously, they've got people vying to bid, but the people coming in are like Lewis Hamilton at the moment. Now, he's not going to bring the same amount of money that Abramovich was going to bring, so God knows what's going to happen there. But, you know, Liverpool, obviously, a solid team, looking at obviously, the season's going to be a success for them, regardless of what happens, in my opinion. City, for me, I don't see them not winning the title. The remaining games at the moment, they have Leeds, Newcastle, West Ham and Villa. All teams they should just breeze past, in my opinion. The one I feel it might slip up at is probably going to be West Ham, but even then, I just don't see them dropping points. Obviously, they're ahead of Liverpool at the moment for by 1 point, but I can't see them winning it. I can't see them winning it at all. Man City at the moment very, very strong. I mean, if we have a quick look at Liverpool's fixtures, let's see what fixtures they've got. So they have Newcastle themselves as well. Jeez, Newcastle got quite hefty running in the end, because I'm pretty sure they've got to play Arsenal. No, now Liverpool do have Spurs to play, which I am very much, as an Arsenal fan, hoping that they annihilate Spurs. They've got Villa, and they have Wolves and Man United. Liverpool will have a card running, but Man United's a friend. Why is there a friendly already organised? When the season's not okay, whatever. That's a bizarre one. I just looking at the fixtures there. Yeah, there's a friendly already being arranged between United and Liverpool, on the 12th of July. That is really bizarre. That's really bizarre. That this early in the season, I know, but hell, it's what it is. It is early, this late in the season for organising friendlies for next season already. That's mad. But yeah, at the moment I can't see City not winning the title. Liverpool at the moment, FA Cup, still, I think they're going to win that. I feel like Chelsea at the moment are just not going to really. They're just not going to do it. I feel they're a bit broken at the moment, so I can't see them not. I can't see them winning the FA Cup. Champions League wise, at the moment, I'll be honest with you, I can't see any other team other than Real Madrid winning it, and that's not because I feel like they've got the best team. I just feel like Benzema at the moment just seems inevitable at the moment. He just seems to be, no matter what game he's in, he's performing. Even in the league as well. Like, I think it was against Sevilla that Real Madrid were down 2-0 at half time, and then Benzema pops up in the last minute for them to win it like 3-2 or something. It was like, he's just like, how do you even describe Benzema? By the way, honestly, he's a joke. Um, I really wish Arsenal had really decided to put up the money to actually buy him ages ago. Did he miss 2 pens in the last game? Might have done, but either way, he's still unreal. I mean, it kind of shows that maybe Ronaldo was overshadowing his ability a little bit. Obviously, Benzema. I mean, Benzema could be on par with might have been on par with Ronaldo if Ronaldo had never went to Real Madrid. Who knows? But I can't see anyone other than Real Madrid winning at the moment. But who knows? We'll wait and see. It could very well be a Real Liverpool final, which would make for interesting. I mean, when have we seen that one before? You know, when have we seen that one before? Didn't go too well the last time, now did it? Check saying that Casemiro is also the best holding midfielder in the world right now. Hard to think of anyone else. I think like you think of maybe Kimmich, but Kimmich is very, very attacking. So do you really describe him as a holding midfielder? I think Kimmich, you rate him more against Modric in that, really. And then you've got Kante as well. Again, Kante is he's become more of this attacking kind of DM now, rather than just one that sits. So it's again, do you really compare Casemiro and Kante? Rodri is a good comparison actually. Golden's come up with their saying Rodri is a comparison to Casemiro. That is a good comparison, I think. Actually, yeah. But yeah, Casemiro at the moment is just unreal. But yeah, it's at the moment I can't see anyone. So the quadruple on for Liverpool, no, not for me. They won the FA Cup, I think, and I think they won the Carabao Cup as well, didn't they? So, that's there'll be 2 trophies. It's not a failure at all. They've done well, but yeah, the quadruple's not on for me personally. Reese is saying that they'll win the treble, but I don't know. Fabinho, I do really like him, to be fair, but I don't think he's on the kind of he's up. Oh, I don't know. I would compare him to Rodri. Yeah, no. No. Personally, I would take if I had to choose between Rodri and would I? That's a hard one. I was trying to think there for a second. Would I take Fabinho over Rodri? And that's really hard because Rodri's range of passing is ridiculous, but Fabinho's a really aggressive DM. So it really depends on the team that you've got. Because you've got Rodri who really can ping the ball anywhere, like win the ball back and then ping it away. And then you've got Fabinho who will definitely win you the ball back probably more than when Rodri would. So this season, Reese is saying I'd have Rodri. Fair dues. But I prefer Fabinho. Cheg's coming up with saying, nah, Chelsea are due to beat them. Kai Havertz is going to run the show at Wembley. I mean, Kai Havertz is a big game player, isn't he? Like, how many times has he just shown up in the big games? I mean, they definitely need to get rid of Lukaku. But we'll talk about the transfers of Chelsea because later on in the podcast, there's a few elements that we really need to talk about on that one. Definitely. But Kai Havertz is what a player he is, though. Liverpool have played Chelsea too much for my liking. Yeah. Havertz is a good shout, yeah, for in the Carabao Cup. Golding saying it's going to be 2-2 draws, 120-minute pen shootout. Yeah, probably. Well, let's say probably. I don't know. The attack of Liverpool is just ridiculous. But you know what? That isn't the only title race that I kind of wanted to cover. On this, because I actually kind of have an apology to make almost. I made a video on YouTube, on January 31st, deadline day. I think it was 31st. I don't know if deadline day was a couple of days after, maybe. Either way, I made a video saying about the fact that I had thought that Rangers had won the transfer window, signing Diallo and Ramsey. I stated at that point that I just felt that Rangers then had too much quality for Celtic. However, I did acknowledge previously before that there was a TikTok videos I think I made beforehand, um, where I stated the fact that I thought Celtic had won the transfer window because they got all their business done early in January. They brung in oh right, this is where I'm gonna struggle with some of the names by the way. Hatate, I think it is, Maeda, and then they bring in a left back who I'm pretty sure I've never seen play yet. But regardless, just between those two, they've done it right. They've gone to the J League, which is maybe an untapped league for talent. No one else has really gone to. It's listen. They've gone there. They've made the right. Aye, yeah. Have the check, yeah. have the check. Sorry, just for those that don't know, I think Check's been trying to bait me there with a thing, but yeah, the J League definitely it's a league that's maybe untapped, and Celtic have definitely gone there, and it's worked for them. You know, the one I don't even know how many games they've won in a row now, but they've done really really well. They've done really really well, and these signings have been pivotal to that. I mean, Kyogo's been amazing as well, isn't he? In fact, yeah, they did, didn't they? Because I remember the memes if it was Usock or something like that. But yeah, is it this game coming up that Celtic can win the title? I thought it's the Old Firm this weekend, isn't it? It's Old Firm on Sunday. So yeah, the title could be won on Sunday. Even if Rangers win, I can't see. I mean, Celtic could play their B team at this point and it'd be fine. But let's face it, Old Firm's an Old Firm. No matter what, you're not gonna play your youngsters against the old enemy now, aren't you? But this is where I kind of wanted more opinions, right? Now, obviously, Scotland at the moment is a 2-team league, and it has been for a long time, right? It has been for a long time, right? Now, this is where I've got Chegg in the chat at the moment, who is like me, doesn't support either Celtic or Rangers. This is where I'm going to ask him a question, right? In your opinion, Chegg, right? Who is the next closest team to competing with Rangers and Celtic? If you genuinely think it's Hearts, go for it. But do you feel that there's going to be another team challenging the Old Firm in the next, say, 4 or 5 years? Do you think there's going to be somebody there's going to be a team that you like the look of other than Hearts, or do you think it's Hearts? You think Hearts will until Nielsen leaves? So you think it could, like, Hearts could? I mean, you got to remember as well, at the moment. I mean, you've got Sims at the moment, who is on loan from Everton, I believe, isn't he? I mean, the only other teams I'm thinking of, right? So Aberdeen will definitely invest heavily in this summer, right? They will. So they'll potentially be a shout for next season. I doubt they'll compete with like the Celtic and Rangers. This is why I'm saying 5 years time. Who'd I think? Dundee United. They have money. I just don't know how smart they are with using it. They made the right signing with Tory Watt, because I think he's come up with like something like 6 or so assists since he joined Dundee United, and I think he scored a couple as well. Ross County won't be them. Ross County don't have enough money to compete in that aspect. Motherwell, they're very much a selling club, kind of like Livingston. Not likely. Hibs just have this habit of making wrong decisions all the time, right? It's like Hibs. I don't know what it is, right? Hibs have every foundation to be a really successful football club, but yet constantly make the wrong decisions, like genuinely all the time. A mate of mine has now gone to Hibs to work as a kind of director almost. So we'll wait and see how he was working at Livingston for a while, so maybe he can bring some of the good decision making from Livingston to Hibs. Who knows? But wait and see. If Dundee United can keep a manager for longer than a season, they'd improve. Yeah, definitely. Christy's saying definitely Hearts. Reese is also saying that see if they keep qualifying for group stages in Europe, they'll start rolling the money. Yep, that's a big factor as well. Obviously, Hearts getting into the next round of the Scottish Cup as well. Meant the fact that fifth now gets European football as well, so Ross County could be on a European tour at this rate. I mean, it is between Dundee United, Ross County, and Motherwell for those last two European spots, even though they are qualification. It's still in there for them as well. Hibs could go to shit again, depending on who they get. Yeah, absolutely. Tam Courts is out of his depth. Check. St Mirren very good once Robinson gets a pre-season. Yeah, I think so. He is a really good manager. I mean, you just look at what he did for Motherwell. It's just the problem again, like St Mirren has got these kind of Hibs vibes, and I don't know if anyone kind of gets what I mean by that. Like the fact that again, it's a club that makes a lot of stupid decisions. Like they just they're buying players, or they're getting players that realistically aren't smart, or they're just, I don't know, they just have Hibs vibes about them. Again, it's bizarre. Aberdeen are also kind of a Hibs club right now. Again, another club that is constantly making wrong decisions. Now the difference with the Aberdeen and Hibs is that they generally have some really good players. Oh, I say that, you know, they've got Cadden, who obviously is a very good player at Hibs. They do have a couple good players there, but Aberdeen in general, the core of the team is actually not bad. But they do need a big rebuild, as Reese has just stated, as I've said that there. Yeah, they got rid of Jet, obviously, who I have to say, by the way, Jet, for the last part of the season he was at Livingston, was genuinely one of the most gifted players I've ever seen in the Scottish League. Like, genuinely, it was like watching a slower version of Henry. Like, he was just mesmerizing to watch. We were never going to be able to afford his wages, right? We were never going to be able to. And the fact he was playing for Livingston is just ridiculous. And then he went to Aberdeen and did nothing of the sorts that he did for Livingston. Nothing. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was come down to maybe potentially laziness. It's a hard one to say. So I'm not a footballer. I don't really know the ins and outs. I'm not up in Aberdeen, so I can't comment on that. You know, but it was genuinely one of the best strikers I'd seen in the Scottish League, and I've seen Henrik Larsson. I genuinely. Well, they were in the same team together. Like, Jet was at Arsenal at the same time as Henry was. Like he learned the trade from him. He was in the same side, youth. I should be clicking off, to be honest. Like, you look at some of the goals he scored. If you can find clips for it, right? Look at some of the goals he scored for Livingston. He even scores the flick up volley that Henry scores against United. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, genuinely, it was just unreal. It was just like, he was like a slower Henry. It was just, like, I'm not obviously saying he was as good, right? Let's be real here. I know full well he's not, but it was what he was like, and it's mad the fact that Aberdeen weren't able to get that out of him. But is what it is. Aberdeen did make a lot of weird decisions. They got, was it Fraser Hornby as well, that was nowhere near as good. I think it's Hornby. I can't remember the one they got from the French league striker that I don't think actually scored a goal for them. Who was meant to be really good, never got him either. It was yeah. I couldn't quite remember who it was. It's like, because I remember there was so much hype about this guy going to Aberdeen, and he just never did anything. But yeah. Anyway, on the title race, we definitely say that Celtic has kind of got in the bag. It's same with Man City at the moment, but yeah, it's yeah. I don't think there's any real arguments either way on that one. The next thing we're going to be talking about is the race for top 4. Now, this has got very, very spicy over the last kind of couple of weeks. It kind of, at one point, Arsenal were set to get it easily, like no problems whatsoever. Then they went and decided to lose 3 times in a row. Then it was Tottenham in the driving seat. Now, now it's even no one gave United a chance. Then they came back into the fold slightly, and now they're out of it again. It's this. I don't know what to say about this title race. I really don't. It's been one of the most bizarre. I say title race, top four race. Top four is a title, all of a sudden, my opinion. I don't know. Who do we actually feel right now will finish in the fourth, right? Bear in mind as well that Chelsea are only 5 points ahead of Arsenal with some tricky games ahead. Then again, they do have a game in hand. I just noticed that there. Golding saying Spurs. I mean, it is possible. Reese is saying Arsenal. But football as well. It has been very wild. This is an interesting comparison, right? So, I was watching Talksport, and I can't remember fully. You know what? I think it was actually Piers Morgan that was saying this, right? And I was like, wow, imagine him talking sense, right? But it happened. He actually stated the fact, right? So imagine, right, that you had Man United's quality, right? So the players in that Man United team, right, with the mentality that Arsenal have. So all those young players and whatnot, their mentality, and you combine them together, like you think that would be an unreal team. Like that would be a team that gets top four easily, potentially even challenging each season. Because the mentality, it was like the guy was also saying the fact that it was Piers Morgan, and I watched another video, and the guy who was commentating was actually saying that when the game was on, there was a break in play for about kind of five minutes or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was for, but it was the fact that it was the fact that during this break, all the Arsenal players go and go around Mikel Arteta, get instructions, talk about what to do next in the game. And all the Man United players are genuinely just spread out, just walking around, looking around the stadium, looking around. There's no cohesion there at all. Like, it was kind of mad when he was stating it. And I was just like, yeah, I remember seeing that actually, but I just didn't think anything of it. And then when it's actually pointed out, I'm like, oh, wow. Actually, yeah, you've got a fair point there. So it's... So I check, what was that you just sent me there? I couldn't really dive into it too heavily because obviously I'm recording at the moment. But if you can explain it a little bit more in the chat, then that'd be great. Golden says don't care for Ragnar. Obviously, yeah, it's it's not quite worked. When he came in the door, he came in with so much hype, that. And the fact he was after the job as well. Yeah, there's just so many egos. And this is where Morgan was also actually talking sense as well. He went he was obviously he's a season ticket holder at Arsenal, right? Obviously he's a season ticket holder at Arsenal. He was saying how Arsenal should sign Ronaldo. Now, let me just nullify the fact that I definitely do not think that Arsenal are signing Ronaldo, right? Let's just clarify this right now. I don't think this is happening, right? But he made a good point about this. When he was at the game beforehand, right? He was talking to Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry, right? And then he sees them go downstairs, and both of them are then chatting to Smith Rowe and Saka, and you can just see in the eyes of Saka and Smith Rowe in awe of these two players that are obviously legends of the club, done so much. Thierry Henry alone, God knows how many Arsenal fans he made. I was one of them as well. Just for playing. And it doesn't feel that United players have the same respect for Ronaldo. So, like, that's maybe one of the reasons as to why United just don't quite gel at the moment. It's like the United players don't have the same respect or the admiration of Ronaldo as kind of they really, really should do. This is a player that has won Ballon d'Or after Ballon d'Or, won Champions League after Champions League, won title after title, but it's just not getting the respect he actually deserves. Or like, I mean, even against Arsenal, he was the best player in that United squad. You know, he was. Chegg saying, "Oh, he clearly got more out of the squad than Rangnick." Yeah, 100%, he did. He absolutely did. I still feel necessarily it was the right decision to get rid of Ollie. However, Rangnick was not the right decision. He just wasn't. Now, there's every chance that Ten Hag was the plan all along to get him. But if that was the plan all along, why not just let Ollie finish the season? Why create this cloud over the club, cause all these problems? I personally, I think it's been mismanaged overall. Yeah, team is separated into groups. Yeah, I get that, definitely. It's like I said, I just don't feel that there's the respect for Ronaldo that there definitely should be at United, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like they've massively underperformed. Because let's face it, a United team, right, shouldn't be they just shouldn't be trying to compete for fourth. They should actually be looking up beyond that. They should be looking at challenging for second, first. Although I do feel that the squad was still lacking to kind of get to run there. And it's I mean, there was also the other point when you compared United to Arsenal. You could explain why Arsenal's defense wasn't performing that well, right? You could explain it. They're missing the two key fullbacks. They're missing Tierney and they're missing Tomiyasu. Obviously, Tomiyasu now you could see that starting to gel up a little bit. With United, you couldn't explain it. They took Maguire out the lineup, but yet there were still the same mistakes happening in that United defence. And let's face it, those aren't bad players. I mean, Lindelof is one I think is a bit speculative. Dalot was, I think it was like one of the best players in Serie A last season, so he should have performed better. Telles was one of the best players at Porto, so like again, he should be performing better. So like you couldn't really explain why that defense isn't working as well as it should. So Chegg saying, I've always said that Arsenal are closer to the top teams than United. I don't know. Reese is saying United should have went for Conte. Again, I don't know if that would have been the right move. It's a hard one to say because, well, then again, it's like, yeah, obviously, I think the debate beforehand was with Conte that he wants a massive amount of control over transfers and stuff like that, and it was like he didn't feel like he was going to have that at United. But is he really having that at Spurs? Like, in fairness, right, the one team that actually made signings to try and back their bid for top four was Spurs, and those signings have kind of paid off to a certain degree. I mean, I couldn't imagine where that team would be if they hadn't made those signings. Most definitely, we have to wait and see. I mean, let me actually have a look at Tottenham's next couple games, and we can see roughly how likely we feel that this is going to pan out for them. So, Spurs have Leicester on Sunday at home. Then they play Liverpool in the league, and then they play Arsenal. Those are three really tough games, and then they finish off the season a little bit easier. Well, I say easier, right? I say easier. Spurs have got to play Burnley before the end of the season. And it's the second last game of the season, which it makes it really, really hard, right? It does. Because Burnley might need that game to stay up at that point. In fact, they probably will. They will probably need that game to stay up. You can be damn well sure that they are not going to go quietly. So even though that could be looked as an easy game, I don't think I think that's potentially even going to be one of the hardest ones out of the three that I've mentioned before. That yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be ridiculous. I mean, the Spurs Arsenal game's on a Thursday. God knows what implications that's gonna have. Let's have a wee look at the fixtures again. Let's look at Arsenal's and let's just see. So they've probably got their, well, we'll say the harder games. They play West Ham on Sunday. Then they play Leeds. I back Arsenal against Leeds in the morning. I think Leeds have kind of doing. I mean, I don't know what the current score is. In their match at the moment. I know that they're playing at the moment. It's still 0-0 against Palace. If Leeds can get a result there, I feel like our game against Leeds will be significantly easier. I mean, Arsenal got to play. Oh my god, Arsenal could be the team that relegates Everton, right? Let's put that into perspective. Arsenal could be the team that relegates Everton. That is a potential as well. They do have tough games, I can't lie. West Ham, then they have Leeds, then it's Spurs, then they play Newcastle. Now the difference, actually, I've just noticed it there, between Spurs, Arsenal, and Newcastle. Between Spurs and Arsenal, after that North London derby, right? Spurs play again on the Sunday, while Arsenal don't play again until the Monday. However, they are away to Newcastle, so maybe that's one of the reasons why. I'm pretty sure Spurs are at home for that game on Sunday. So we'll wait and see. For all football purposes, everyone should want Everton to stay up, especially Liverpool fans. I don't know. Like, check, how did you feel about not having Hibs in the league? Like, you're right now, you're probably, well, I say that Reese as well could comment on the fact that Rangers weren't in the league. Like, how did you feel, obviously not having the biggest rival actually in the league, and what kind of impact did you actually feel that had? Like, did you feel that impacted the amount of fans you had in the stadium? Do you feel like that had impact at all on, like, kind of just the overall competitiveness of the league? I mean, I don't know, what would you say? Reese saying, I want JM to be going to Everton. Ready? If for those who don't know, JM's just a pile of Reese's and that. He just likes to kind of take the mic. It's like saying Arsenal fans should want Spurs to stay in the league. I mean, I don't want to see them do well, but I do want them still in the league. North London derby still a big thing. It's poor because it's the first game you look for. You do look for the, yeah. It like those big derbies are the ones that you look for in the league. They are. You look for those big games, and let's face it, those big games are what brings the most money into the league. More money means better players, so it is a snowballing effect. If Everton were to go down, it's really not a good thing for the Premier League. It really isn't. Exactly. You want them in the league, but not to do well. Yes, that's the general idea. I mean, in Cheg's experience, he quite likes it when Hibs go to finals and they beat them in cup finals. You know, he quite likes it when he gets to beat them 5-1 with Rudy Scatchell. You know, it's yeah. You look for those big derbies, and like, you also got to think, it's like, I know full well that I would be looking for those big games and I'd be booking them off work. Like, I'd be saying, like, see, this day I'm not going. I'm like, don't put me in. Shifts, like, you plan your life around these big derbies. So yeah, you want them in the league, but you just don't want them to do well. Most definitely. You know, we've talked heavily about that top 4 race. Most definitely. Let's have a wee look at some of the other topics as well that I put in. I think the next one was going to be transfer window. Transfer window's the next one. Now, the first club I'm going to talk about here, right? And this is a topic that came up today. And this is where I want Golding's opinion. David, if you're still here as well. do we think? Because obviously Divock Origi is going to be leaving Liverpool, right? Divock Origi is going to be leaving Liverpool. Do we feel that he has been disrespected by Liverpool fans? Do we feel that like the quality of footballer he is someone that has had to keep himself at peak physical condition to even get himself into the Liverpool team? Do you feel that he's been disrespected? Well, this is the point I'm making, right? So people were kind of making jokes about the fact that he should have a statue and stuff like that. In my opinion, that being made kind of sarcastically is disrespectful of the player. You know, saying the fact that you're gonna make a statue of a player almost in a kind of just for a moment of their entire career. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a massive, massive moment. Like, Divock Origi scoring against Barcelona was huge, and obviously he's produced big moments, and he is a kind of cult hero. But it's I don't know. It's what do you think? Do you think that that's do you think that's disrespectful, or do you feel that that's do you feel that's absolutely fine? It's unfortunate the quality that it is above him. Yeah, I mean, like there's talks of him going to AC Milan. Spud, what do you think Chelsea will struggle in the summer transfer window? 100% they will struggle in the transfer window. 100% they will struggle. They don't have Abramovich's money, and depending on who comes in to buy Chelsea, you don't know who they're going to buy. Like, you've got the likes of Rudiger leaving to go to Real Madrid. It's not confirmed, but it's definitely like it's most likely going to happen. They might have to sell some players to fund other players. Like, Chelsea are in for a rough ride going into the next couple seasons. Now they're not poor by any means, right? Let's just clarify this, right? Chelsea are a massive money making machine. But it's gonna be a rough one for the next couple. Now this is where I feel like a lot of Chelsea fans have kind of accepted it and are quite understanding actually of the fact that this is going to be a rough ride for a little bit. They know full well that they're going to struggle going forward, and they're probably going to drop out of Europe in the next couple of seasons. But we'll wait and see. I think they could be relying on free signings. Like, the face we've seen a lot of good pre-contracts. I mean, like, just look at Thiago Silva. He was a free, and he was class. He has been class. You know, they might have to rely on that. Yeah, academy as well. You've got Gallagher as well coming back from Crystal Palace, who has been unreal. So yeah, you could be relying on them a lot more, but we'll wait and see. Chelsea can't sign anyone yet, can they? I don't think so yet, but I think they have to wait until the new owner comes in before they can buy more. But no one's going to come in with the same amount of money that Abramovich has, right? That's just unlikely. They've got the likes of Lewis Hamilton. I think it's Serena Williams looking to buy Chelsea together. I don't think that's likely, because at the moment they still can't sell tickets right now because they need the new owner to take over. So there's a lot of people interested in buying Chelsea. It's really about who's going to come in and who's going to come in with the most money, who's going to come in with the right intentions as well. It's not every day that a club like Chelsea comes up for offer, so somebody is going to be going in. Billy Gilmore's, I forgot about him as well. What a player! Yeah, definitely. They do have good youth players, so you know they're not in awful trouble, but they're not going to be in top four, I don't think, next season. I think it's going to be a real struggle for them, which is a bit of a shame. But at the same time, it opens up the window for the likes of Arsenal, so I can't say it's too big of a shame. But we'll wait and see. Whoever comes in to buy, it's not going to be it's going to be a gradual process. You do have some decent players on big contracts, which obviously is helpful, but yeah, it's a bit of a struggle at the moment. Golden, what's he saying? So with the Liverpool squad as well, Ox is another name that should be gone in the summer with Minamino. There's time where they aren't making the squad and reliant on injuries. It happened to Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones as well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like they are. But the problem is, see those kind of players, they're very important. If you don't have Oxlade-Chamberlain or Minamino, then I mean, Minamino I think is awful, but Ox is a player that's definitely a squad player. He can play wide and he can play centre, so you've got versatility there. Yo, sleeping on Newcastle up there, yeah, 100%. This is what's scary, right? See if you look at Newcastle, right? Well, actually, no. See if you look at Arsenal, Spurs, to the degree Chelsea, Man U, they're all going to be competing for some signings, right? They're all going to be competing with each other. Anyone that they don't get is probably going to go to Newcastle. That's the reality here, right? Anyone they don't get, Newcastle are going to just swoop in and take, which is a very likely scenario. Or if they don't get players over the line, they'll swoop in and take them. I mean, look at the likes of what happened with Aston Villa and Arsenal. They were in for a couple of their players, and then Aston Villa just got it done. They just paid the money, got it done straight away. Newcastle are going to be like that, but with more money. So, yeah, any of these, any of the kind of big teams, any players that they dawdle on, Newcastle will just take. And you know what? They can risk these players not being that good because they could just buy another one. So it's going to be really difficult. Yeah, United are going to have to be rebuilt. Well, you say United are quite a few years of where they need to be, but the defense has to be looked at. But I feel like that's mainly going to be down to the coaching. Ten Hag's got a massive job ahead of him. How heavily do I feel like he needs to recruit? Maybe not really heavily, but one or two at the back is probably going to be a must. It's more about how he actually gets them defending. Get the basics. The basics have to be the priority with United. If you're a coach and your team is not defending well, get the basics done properly first, then look at the more complicated things of going forward, playing out from the back, like all the extra things. Defending is the basis of any good team. You have to be able to defend before you can go forward. I can't remember who said it. I feel like it's maybe Tony Adams. A good attack will win you games, but a defense will win you titles. So it's like you have to that defense just has to be better. Villa need to. Oh, was it Maldini? Maldini, that was it. Yeah, Maldini. I knew it was a defender. I just couldn't remember which one. I just know that Tony Adams had a few. Was Czech saying Villa need to bring in a centre half, holding midfielder, and a striker for definite. I mean, they don't have the worst team, Villa, but I feel like people might look to take a couple of their players. Like, it's Douglas Luiz, I think people will look to take. I don't think anyone will be particularly looking at Watkins or Ings, but John McGinn as well, I think is one potential they could be losing. There's players in there that I feel like Villa might struggle to keep hold of. I think Danny Ings has been injured though, isn't he? I think injuries have started to come back for him again. Coutinho, I don't know. Coutinho, I think will start working again at Barca, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what's happening with him. I need to ask a friend of mine. A friend of mine's an actual Barcelona fan. Watches all the games in Spanish and all that. He's a big Barcelona fan, so I'll ask him because I ask him a lot what's been happening at Barca. He gives me quite detailed descriptions and whatnot. Being injured, aye, alright, okay. I'd love Coutinho, but you don't need Coutinho though. You just don't need him though. Like it's the one area you just don't need somebody. Hasn't had a decent game since Leeds. Like it happens. I mean, potentially Gerrard's issue. I mean, Chegg, what's your opinion on Gerrard at the moment? Do you feel that he's holding the team back right now? Do you think that that's an issue that's that might need solved in the summer? Like, were you expecting more? It baffles me that Bendia sits on the bench every week, by far the best player. Jeez, oh man. Golding stating, I love Fabinho, Thiago, Coutinho, Salah, Firmino, Mane. I don't know if that team would work really, personally, but Who knows? Who knows? Where do you think Christian Eriksen will end up? He's been heavily linked to Spurs. He's got a great relationship with Conte. I feel like Spurs is destined to take him. However, if Spurs don't take him, I feel like I wouldn't put it past him staying at Brentford. Personally, I wouldn't put it past him. But I reckon Spurs will just get him because they'll just take him. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent at the end of the season. So he's free. He's got a choice where he wants to go. He'll want to go to Spurs. And let's face it, Spurs are missing that. They're missing a creative midfielder. So I definitely feel that's where you'll go. Can't judge him until a pre-season. The Kamba injury absolutely killed the season. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't watch Villa enough to really comment hugely on that, so that's definitely like I'll take your word for that one. Eriksen's massively helped Brentford to stay up. He definitely has. Really quality player. I thought he was actually going to score against Spurs at one point. Some of his touches were really sound. But that Brentford team's really good. Like they just work so hard. I thought their attack was a bit dull actually. Like the ball was getting to Tony quite regularly, but he just wasn't doing an awful lot with it. Which I might like. He's kind of dulled my expectations. I thought maybe he might get a move to a bigger team, but I don't necessarily know if Tony's actually good enough, or if he's just another Watkins, for example. You know what I mean? But yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, yeah, we're looking at the sides at the moment. Let's actually throw a few names, right? So who do we think? Who do we think Arsenal will sign? Who do we think United will sign? Who do we think Spurs will sign? And because we're gonna have to throw them into the mix, who do we think Newcastle will sign? Right? Who are Newcastle gonna just throw the money at? Who are they gonna go all out for? Because let's face it, what do they need? Well, they're gonna buy another attacker, 100%. The striker probably. Midfield, yep, 100%. They're gonna need to bulk up there, and defense as well. They're gonna have to bulk up. I think they might leave goalkeeper for a while. I don't think they actually need to replace the Bravka at the moment. But yeah, Newcastle will sign Lucas I don't know how to pronounce that. Newcastle should go for the likes of Isaac and David. Yeah, I feel that that's absolutely going to happen. You know, like I said, any signings that Arsenal, United, and whatnot don't go for, I think definitely there. They'll go for them. I wouldn't be surprised if Darwin Núñez. Wow, that is a shout. But you know what? I could see it happening. If Arsenal and whatnot don't go for him, I definitely could see it. I could definitely see it. Saying that Matty Target should go there permanently. I think he's been a big help to that defense. So yeah, I could see that. I mean, Trippier's been injured for a while, so they'll definitely need to bolster the defense a lot more. Chig, do you feel like Target actually leaving? Do you think Target leaving Villa has actually hindered Villa, or do you think he was always going to be leaving? Do you feel that was always going to happen? I don't know what you were thinking there. You thought Digne would have done better. In fairness, I would have thought he would have done better, but he did recognise it was a sinking ship at Everton, and was smart to leave when it was. What about the teams coming up? That's a hard one because like teams coming up historically don't do amazingly, but they don't like. There's usually two of them that don't do well and one that does. That's usually the format to these things. Fulham. I mean, Mitrovic is yet to prove it really in the Prem, hasn't he? So we'll have to wait and see there. Golden's come up with a few here, hasn't he? So he's saying Frank Kessie going to Barca for free. I think kids actually, yeah, I remember seeing that as well. That's a big move as well. Lingard definitely going up to. you think Newcastle? Do you think he'll go back to West Ham? Like, I don't know. What do you think on that? Do you feel he will take the money going to Newcastle, or do you actually feel like, you know what, maybe he might actually go to West Ham, where he's definitely already proven that he was a good player there, you know? Paul Pogba out of contract. I think he's going to PSG. I think that's the main one. Haaland, I believe, is going to Man City, isn't he? Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal. I don't know about that personally. I feel like we could go. Well, I don't know. It's Jesus has proven to do it in the Prem, but is he actually that good? Or you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say that, because he's maybe been a bit overshadowed by the other players in the team. Like, I should really be a bit more fair about that. Yeah, I should be more fair about him. Let's see. Any other ones? Likes of Richarlison might end up at Newcastle if really. I mean, yeah. In fact, there's a topic right there. If Everton do get relegated, right? Who's gonna who's going? Who's leaving Everton, and who's buying them? I did say this. I did think that Weghorst would be a good shout for Arsenal if Burnley were to go down, because he's a good player. I was surprised he went to Burnley. Abraham Schick. Abraham's the one I would favour personally. He's already done it in the Prem, so it makes more sense there. Chelsea, Mina, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Pickford. Yep, they would all leave 100%. Allen, yeah, 100%. Some really good players, actually. Some really good players at Everton. They really are. Still think Godfrey is decent. He's decent in spells. I don't think he's really done it. Personally, I wouldn't touch anyone in that defense. I really wouldn't touch anyone in that defense right now. I think that defense has been one of the worst things for Everton this season. So I'd personally stay well clear of that. Pickford going to Newcastle. I don't see that personally. Pickford's a Sunderland fan, isn't he? So, personally, I don't see that happening. I think it's a very unlikely. Mina could be one that goes to Newcastle though. Mina could. Coleman's probably. I mean, that's because he's awful. Let's see. Right, he's going to say we're just in the recording at the moment, mate. Don't know. Pickford played for Sunderland, yeah, but I'm pretty sure he came up through Sunderland, did he not? I find it unlikely he would go to Newcastle personally, but we'll wait and see. Enough money and he won't care. It's hard to say. I mean, like, Christie, see if you were offered like 100 million, would you play for Rangers? Like, would you? There's a question for you. If you were offered the 100 million, would you go? I mean, I'm pretty sure you're just gonna say, yeah, we'd go and it would play awful, deliberately or something. I'm not saying he's getting 100 million for going, right? Let's just clarify that. Probably. Right, oh, there you go. Yeah, I'd see you go to Rangers and then just play awful. Like that's personally what I would see. Uh, let's see. We'll be back to Arsenal. I don't see. Iwobi's not good enough. I score a bunch of own goals. Reese is saying if he was offered that money to go to Rangers, I don't know. It's like, I personally don't think I also don't think it'd be a good signing for Newcastle. From the fans' perspective as well, you've got to keep that in mind. The fans wouldn't be on board with having a Sunderland fan there. Yeah, but you've got to remember as well, Christy, right? that Pickford is already in a minted situation. He's already got the dollar. He doesn't necessarily need the money. Like, he's not in our situation where like I've had to save up years to get the setup I currently have. He could just buy my set off. He could pay like 100. He could pay 100 grand more and buy the setup off me like without blinking an eye, right? He doesn't need the money. So this is where a debate comes about. It's would he do it for the money? But at the same time, I don't think Newcastle. It's not a smart move for Newcastle to get him. So that's where I think it's not going to happen personally. A score against Ross County, something spit on the badge. Jeez, oh man. I I swear Van Aanholt played for both. Aye, but he wasn't a. I'm pretty sure he was bought by Chelsea, was he not? He was a Chelsea player, but he went on loan. I may be wrong there. I might be completely wrong, but I feel like he played. He was one of the big teams, and then he got loaned out to one of the other teams. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if someone wants to search that up and double check my information on that one, but I'm almost certain that he was a Chelsea player, and he then went and had a move elsewhere. Yeah, and loaned out. Oh, yeah, it was Chelsea, and then he eventually ended up playing for Palace. That was it. Aye. Oh well, Rio. So yeah, we've talked a lot, quite heavily about the transfer side of things in the Premier League. Because obviously we do have also a lot of we do also have a lot of Scottish fans as well. Who do we think? Like all of our kind of Scottish companions here. Do we think that Celtic and Rangers will sign next season? Like 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 who do we think? Mbappe to Livingston. Mbappe to the Tony Macaroni Arena to play in a plastic pitch in front of 1,000 people. Who knows? I mean, Mbappe is out of contract. He could go to Livingston. You know, maybe he's a big fan of the Simply Spud podcast, and maybe he's hearing this and going, you know what? I could be tempted. I could be tempted. You know. Meet the famed Simply Spud, you know, the Mbappe. Aye, listen, mate, I got you. Maybe, who knows? What was the question? Apparently, you're gonna spend big, aiming for top 6. Mate, like this is something right. Okay, right. I'm gonna. Right, this is where this is where I'm looking at. Right, Killy. I get why Livingston have got a plastic pitch, right? I do, right? Because we don't have enough money to really maintain a decent pitch. Killy do, right? They have enough money to get a decent pitch and still invest heavily into the team, right? They get the crowds for it. They definitely can. Why they haven't got a grass pitch, I don't know. But like Livingston's makes sense because like we save like a lot of money each year by having it and make money off it as well. I personally don't get it, right? I don't, but I don't know. It's like what it depends on what you think, right? It depends on what you think. Do you think that Kelly should really like change their pitch? I mean, I know football that you all are gonna say yes because you're all against plastic pitches. But yeah, I'm drinking green tea. Green tea is good for you, right? It helps you lose weight because I'm very round and I could do with being less round. So, yeah, that's what I need to do. So, aye, someone should sign from Barnes. I don't actually know that player at all, so I couldn't comment on that one. I feel like we're running into a bit of a wall with this one. on what teams in the Scottish League to sign. So on that note, there, I feel like what we're gonna do is we're gonna end the podcast there. Thank you, team, for all getting massively involved in this one. We had some really good conversations this one, and team as well. If you are listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, please do consider following the podcast. It does mean an awful lot. And also, if you are watching us on YouTube, please do consider subscribing. It helps massively. Like the video, share it with your friends, share it with your dog. Go for it, please do. I mean, the dog's just not going to make any sense of it, but share it with him anyway, or her. You know, could have either. Jeez, I am messing up this outro so badly. But listen, it's fine. It's a podcast. You know, it is what it is. But guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Like I said, I'll be hoping to record more during the week as well. I'll catch you next Monday for the next Simply Sport Pod about 8 o'clock. Make sure you're there on twitch.tv/Simply Spod. And also check us out on Twitter as well at the Simply Pod on Twitter. Drop us a follow there. Get all the information about the podcast when it's going live, clips as well. And I'll catch you in the next one. Adios, team.